people we serve, then we should be truthful. But what's about to happen tonight is not going to be truthful. It's going to be a political narrative, and it's all for politics, and it is sickening.
Branded as traitors, gravest capital crime, punishable by death. A couple hundred years ago, a few guys named Washington, Jefferson, and Adams were branded as traitors by the British. And now they're called patriots. In time, so shall we.
The sham trial of the century continues. Hello, all you beautiful and amazing people. Thank you for tuning in and welcome to the show. If you're new to the channel, I'm your host, Hyde, and this is Hide and Seek Media, where we talk about news, sports, politics, and so much more. So if you've been watching these January 6th hearings, now, mind you, the second one you had to actually watch during the day because they didn't put it on primetime TV for everybody to watch like the first one. So if you did happen to catch the second one live, it's just more of the same, right? It's more of deposition videos, and I have not heard any charges being brought against President Trump. I haven't heard of any actual evidence against President Trump. I have not seen any proof of a coordination between Trump and the Proud Boys and the Oath Keepers. I haven't seen any part of any 7-part plan. This is all political theater. This is all basically just to distract you. Now, I don't know what from. My gut is telling me there's going to be some radical things being passed in the House and Senate over the next couple of weeks that they're going to try to mask with these hearings so that nobody pays attention. I don't know. That's just a hunch. But getting back to the January 6th trial, or hearings, I'm sorry. One thing that bothered me about all this is something that Liz Cheney said in her opening statement in the first trial, or the first hearing. God dang, sorry, I keep saying that. I don't know why. Freudian slip, maybe. But anyways, something that Liz Cheney said in her opening statement was that this isn't all the evidence. The investigation is still ongoing. And, you know, as investigations evolve, things may change. Why are we seeing these hearings then? So far, no new evidence has been provided that shows anything that we didn't already know. Bill Barr has already come out in multiple interviews on public television saying that he had not seen any evidence of widespread voter fraud, and he had told the president as such. So him saying it in his deposition isn't new information. That's not new facts. Now him talking about Dinesh D'Souza's 2,000 Mules, well, that's a little different. That, to me, I think is somebody maybe trying to save face, because you keep saying there's no such thing until somebody shows you there's a such thing. And you're like, oh, crap. Well, cell phone, tracking data is fine when you're tracking criminals for your purposes. It's fine when you use it to track January 6th insurrectionists, but it's not viable when you use it to track people like they did in 2,000 Mules. So I don't know. That seems to me a little sketchy, and I don't really put a lot of trust in a lot of bureaucrats, especially somebody like Bill Barr, who has been sucking on the government teat for a long, long time. And that's the biggest issue, right? Is all of these bureaucrats. They're still there. Like, all the elected people come and go. It's the people they hire that actually run their offices for them, right? The people behind the scenes, the people that are always in Washington, D.C., that we don't ever know their names unless you actually start looking up people who work in their offices and look up their careers and all of that stuff. But who's going to do that? You? You, Lieutenant Weinberg? You can't handle the truth. Nobody wants to know the real truth anymore, so they just bury their head in the sand, watch CNN, and hope for the best, right? As long as it don't come to my doorstep, I don't really care. That's a terrible way to look at it. And that's why I'm here. So thank you for tuning in. Only the people who are completely delusional as to what reality really is believe that this was an actual insurrection and believe that it was actually a planned, coordinated attack. So CNN has 7 takeaways from the second January 6th hearing. We're going to get into that. I'll give you my thoughts and opinions on it and what I really think about this sham of a hearing. But before we do, if you like the work I'm doing here and you want to help support the channel, there's a bunch of different ways you can do it. I list crypto wallets in the description you can donate to. I have a merch link where you can go buy you funny political t-shirts and hoodies. I also have a locals community you can go join. But the best way you guys can help support my channel is by smashing that like button and sharing this video on all social media platforms. By doing those 2 things, it will force YouTube's algorithm to give my video more impressions. The more impressions I get, the more views I get, the more views I get, the more subscribers I get, and off we go, right? That's the whole point of doing all this. So smash that like button, share this video, leave a comment, let me know what you think about January 6th, this video, my channel, hell, anything you want. I love to engage with my viewers, so feel free to fire away. Now, let's check in on what CNN is taking away from the second hearing on January 6th. So we have this article from CNN Politics. 7 takeaways from Monday's January 6th hearing. Now, if you didn't catch it, it came on at around, I want to say it started around 10:45-ish, 11 o'clock, I think. Somewhere around in there. There was a delay because one of the witnesses, his wife went into labor, and so he had to leave. And so they just played his deposition instead, and we got a lot of that in today's hearing. But we're going to check out what CNN has to say about it and go from there, right? So here's their takeaways, right? So they go on to say, the House committee investigating the January 6, 2021 attack on the U.S. Capitol detailed Monday how those around then-President Donald Trump told him he lost the 2020 election, but he refused to listen, turning instead to his attorney, Rudy Giuliani, to embrace false claims that the election was stolen. The hearing Monday was one witness short from what was planned, but the panel heard testimony from a former Fox News digital politics editor, a conservative lawyer, a former U.S. attorney, and a former Republican election official, all who said it was clear President Joe Biden won the election and Trump's claims of fraud were nonsense. Okay, so from the very beginning of this article, all I hear is election fraud doesn't exist. Election fraud doesn't exist. It can't never happen. Everything Trump said was a big giant lie. That's all I hear whenever I read that first part of this article. So let's get into what their takeaways were. Here are the key takeaways from the panel's second hearing this month about Trump's efforts to overturn 2020 election and the violence in the Capitol on January 6th. Steppin' surprise sets off a scramble, but committee adapts. Yeah, okay, so they just kind of changed their game plan a little bit. It's easy to do when you got Hollywood producers back there helping you run the show. Lengthy depositions take place of witness testimony, as I said. And one of them was Bill Barr. Apparently, Bill Barr is getting a lot of attention now because of some of the things he said during his deposition about how he told President Trump that he had not seen any evidence of widespread election fraud that would overturn the election, right? That would change the results. And then they took that little clip, which he said multiple times before this deposition on public TV. So it's not like that was never heard before, but they took that and then they said, then when they asked Ivanka Trump about how she felt about it, she said, well, I trust him. He's, I respect him. So I believe him when he said that. Well, to me, they're making it out to say that she believes William Barr when he says there's no election fraud. And to me, what I hear is her say, I believe William Barr has not seen any evidence to support widespread election fraud. So there's a difference there, right? There's a difference there. But if you if you're not paying attention and you just blindly listen to what these people are saying, you're going to get misled, right? So you got to pay attention, listen to what they're doing, and put it all into context. Because when they take those little snippets out and then they try to tell you, oh, see, even his own daughter didn't believe that he won the election. No, that's not what she said. She said she respected Bill Barr and she respected his judgment and believed him when he said he had not seen any evidence to support that claim. Doesn't mean she doesn't believe that claim isn't true. She just believes Bill Barr when he said he hasn't seen the evidence. Barr becomes debunker in chief, right? Accusing him of wielding powers to the Justice Department to do Trump's bidding, undermining the Russian investigation, and pushing right-wing conspiracy theories. Over the last 2 weeks, Barr has become a new hero of sorts for liberals for aggressively debunking and condemning Trump's lies about the 2020 election. Unprompted, Barr even went out of his way to criticize 2000 Mules, the film created by right-wing activist Dinesh D'Souza, a convicted felon who claims that the 2020 election was stolen. Oh, it's funny how you put convicted felon. Okay, it's funny. He was convicted of donating too much money to a campaign, and it was 18 months in a minimum security federal prison, and it was during the Obama administration. Right around the same time he was doing documentaries on Obama or the Clintons. I can't remember which one. So you can believe what you want. To me, when they throw that in there, a convicted felon, right? I thought they were the champions for the oppressed, right? Dinesh D'Souza is a man of color, right? He's Indian. He's Indian, he came here from India as a foreign exchange student. I believe he is a citizen of this country, but he came here as a foreign exchange student. So he's from India. He's a part of the minority in this country, but because he doesn't believe the same thing as the Democrats and the progressives, he's just a convicted felon. Let's see. Barr said theories Trump supported were idiotic and amateurish and detached from reality. This rhetoric is strikingly close to what top Democrats have said all along about Trump's fraud claims. To be clear, Barr is still a hardline conservative. I don't know. Just a few weeks ago, he made several false claims in a Fox News interview about the Trump-Russia investigation and backed up Trump's baseless assertions that the entire probe was fabricated. It was a fabricated hoax perpetrated by Democratic operatives and the FBI. So, hold on a minute. Is CNN right here saying that the Russia collusion investigation was not a hoax? Is that what they're saying? That all of that is true? Are you still trying to push that crap? That's some ballsy stuff right there. You're still trying to push the Russia hoax. We all know it was a hoax. Stop with the lies already. Committee argues Trump peddled fraud claims in bad faith after he was personally told were not legitimate. Okay, so here's my thing about all of that, right? Is that I keep hearing everybody say, oh, these claims of fraud aren't legitimate, right? They're baseless and there's no truth to them at all. Here's my problem with that. Okay? Where's the evidence? Where's the evidence that Bill Barr went through to make that claim that there is no evidence of widespread voter fraud? Fraud can be done in a lot of different ways. And I know I'm using the terrible F word on YouTube, and please don't ban me because I said that terrible F word. But Trump didn't plan for that riot to happen. Somebody else might have planned for that riot to happen. But I don't think it was Trump.
What amazes me is the overwhelming amount of evidence that the National Guard was requested to be here, and it was continuously turned down. And the biggest shocker to me is that there's three people that turned it down. It was Chuck Schumer in the Senate, Nancy Pelosi in the House, and Mayor Muriel Bowser.
If I could interject for just a moment, who's in charge of security here in the House of Representatives?
The Sergeant at Arms, and that would be
employed
Nancy
by,
Pelosi.
Right.
Nancy Pelosi.
The Speaker.
The Speaker of the House is the one in charge of the House Sergeant at Arms. And that the House Sergeant at Arms and the Senate Sergeant at Arms turned down the request for the National Guard to keep all of us safe.
Trump and the Pentagon offered Capitol Police the help of the National Guard because they had reports that this rally may get a little out of hand. It may get rambunctious or rowdy or whatever you want to call it. It may turn into a riot, if you will. And Capitol Police turned it down. Said, no, we got this. Then turned around, and as they were breaching the barricades, the FBI calls and says, hey, we got some help. We'll send some guys over. Capitol Police says, no, we got it under control. Here's a funny little topic too, or a funny little tidbit to go along with that.
You know what else? And the American taxpayers pay for this. There's surveillance cameras all over this building. If we really want to know the truth about January 6th, it's real easy. All we have to do is release the video footage, and everyone can see for themselves what exactly happened. And I think the American people deserve that, while they have to watch and go through this big cinematic production tonight and carrying on for weeks and weeks and weeks. And the American people pay for it, by the way. The American people deserve to see all the video surveillance, not just the little cut and pasted pieces that the January 6th committee is going to show tonight.
But was it Trump's idea? Or was he trying to fight what he believed was a real injustice? Never before has what happened to President Trump happened to another president. Never before did they get 10 million more votes and still lose as an incumbent. That's never happened. The down ticket wins, but he doesn't. There is a reason why they don't like him. But then I start thinking about what Trump has been doing. True Social and really stirring the pot and keep, poking at this, 2020 election. All you're going to do is either you're going to create the divide, a bigger divide in this country, or you're going to disenfranchise a lot of people to even vote. But hey, you know what? Maybe that's what all of this is designed to do. Maybe Donald Trump winning in 2016 was designed to create that divide. You started to see that divide happen in like 2014, 2015 with the BLM stuff, and they started bringing that racial tension back into the country after we had elected a black president twice. All of a sudden now racism is run rampant in this country again, and then all of a sudden now it's so bad that they've demonized a president to the point where people were allowed to call for his execution on public television and nothing happened to them. But President Trump says we're going to march down patriotically and peacefully, and they hold hearings over it. Try to impeach him. He's the only president to ever be impeached twice, let alone win both of them. And you mean to tell me that he couldn't win any of those court cases? Didn't have enough proof? Well, what about now? Oh wait, can't do anything now. It's 2022. Oh, that's right. They didn't have any of the machines or that data anymore. It's all gone. We don't know where it went. Oh, we just accidentally deleted it. Oh, dang. Silly us. Well, we'll just have to wait until 2022 and do it all over.
Well, I have choked on these lies my entire career. Well, here and now, the lies stop! God be with all of you.
It's funny. Well, we'll see where this goes. Hopefully, everybody sees it for what it is. Like what this person wrote in the Washington Post. Please, Democrats, no show horses at the January 6th hearings. Anybody remember Adam Schiff? And we got all this damning evidence about Russia collusion and all this, and we've got the smoking gun, we've got a whistleblower and blah, 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 and nothing happened. He didn't have anything. It was all a big joke. And that's all this really is too. A big joke. At the end of the day, all this sham trial it's political theater. It's to try to drive more Democrat voters to the polls to vote against Trump and his supporters and who he supports in these upcoming midterm elections. It's to drive that wedge deeper in this country to force it to split. The Civil War is here. We're already fighting it. And that's what I've now become, is a voice of the constitutionalists, if you will. I believe in the Constitution of this country to the point where I think that's where we need to go back to and start over. Take that Constitution, take a small limited government, let the states handle their own business, and let the federal government worry about protecting the country and, whatever, a few other things. But we need to shrink the federal government down as small as possible and live by the Constitution. That's what this country was. That's how this country was designed. That's what the forefathers wanted, and that's how we should. That's how it should be. That's why America was so great for so long, because that's how it was. But those communists and those socialists, they were smart, and they planted the seeds. They knew that if they planted the seeds and patiently watered them and fed them sunlight and fed them shit, that sooner or later those seeds would sprout and grow, and that those now full-grown plants would then seed and spread until you had a field of weeds amongst the grass. And that's what we have now. So we are in a fight to save the greatest living document we've ever seen. The world has ever seen. No constitution for a country has lasted longer. I've said this in a number of videos, but there is a reason for that. And you can't just toss that aside. You can't just toss 240 plus years aside because you don't like the way things have turned out. Hey, I don't like the way things have turned out either. But we don't just throw it aside. You fix it. And if that means making it smaller, then you make it smaller. That to me is the best solution. And that's what we need to be doing. We need to be making sure that we vote for people who are all about the Constitution and making America great again by going by the Constitution and living our lives with small limited government and letting the states rule their state. We need to go back to letting the states govern themselves with small limited government. That's my view of how this country should be. But if you have a different view, I would love to hear it. Leave a comment down below. Let me know. I love engaging with my viewers, so feel free to fire away. And if you've made it all the way to the end of the video, I really do appreciate you watching. It means a lot. If you haven't already, make sure to hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so you get notified anytime I drop a new video. Smash that like button. Share this video on all social media platforms. Those two interactions alone is going to help this channel tremendously. I appreciate everything you guys are doing, and I will catch y'all later. Peace.